The tropical disturbance in the far western Caribbean shows signs of life, and a tropical storm is likely to develop before it makes landfall. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We are your home for Caribbean weather, and it is fantastic to see you on a Friday. Hope you're doing well. Coming up in this video, we now have a high likelihood of tropical development in the Western Caribbean from Invest 95L. Go over all the newest information for you here and the impacts we're going to expect. We have Invest 94L bringing some impacts to portions of the Greater Antilles for today. We'll take a look at the forecast across our area for the weekend ahead and then deep dive into the tropics as well. As always, I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments section below where you're viewing from, what the weather has been like, and we will get started. Again, Invest 95L here, far Western Caribbean. You notice it's now an area of red. We're up to a 70% chance of development becoming a depression or a tropical storm before it makes landfall. And that landfall, either on the far northern side of Central America, more than likely Belize, or the far southern side of the Yucatan Peninsula, the southern sides of Quintana Roo, it's going to happen fairly early on Saturday. So we don't have a lot more time here. But again, if you are a frequent Meteo Mundo viewer, we've been watching this area now for over a week. I've mentioned it many times, regardless of if this develops, it's still going to be a big time heavy rainmaker. But now that we have the potential for a low level center to wrap up, we have to start talking about the potential wind impacts as well. As a matter of fact, the numbers that you see are wind gusts in miles an hour over the last 6 hours. And this offshore buoy has reported a wind gust darn close to 40 miles an hour already. Still relatively disorganized. It's going to probably do one of those sneaky things and spin up right before it moves inland early tomorrow morning. But you can see in this last still frame of the enhanced satellite imagery, nice little blow up of some heftier, thicker, higher cloud tops on the far northwest side. So we are trying to consolidate the center just a little bit more. The rain and the winds are fairly widespread. We've had heavy rain today from Grand Cayman all the way up to Cancun and Cozumel, back down towards San Pedro Sula, Roatan, Guanaja, all areas that will continue to get heavy rain, and that's all going to move inland to northern Central America and the Yucatan Peninsula here over the next couple of days. So rainfall is going to be a big threat, but of course, now we might ramp up the wind potential as well. Visible satellite imagery. There's that blow up of those higher cloud tops on the northwest side. Again, trying to consolidate that center, starting to see just a little bit better outflow overall as well. Very little wind shear and high sea surface temperatures. So again, we've seen this many, many times where just before landfall, something spins up as it moves inland. I would like to tell you that if it does develop, it's going to remain really weak, but I'm going to show you some of the models which in a very short time do try and take this into a tropical storm, and maybe not just a minimal tropical storm. So we do have to talk about, again, what could be some more significant wind impacts as well. So let's get back over to the visible satellite imagery. Right now, again, you can see those thicker clouds and the heavy rain lacing the northern coastline of Honduras towards Roatan, Guanaja, on over towards Guatemala's coastline, Amatique Bay, up towards Belize, Dangriga. Belize City has already had some wind gusts of over 25 miles an hour. San Pedro, Chechemal there as you get into the southern sides of Quintana Roo. Cozumel had a shower storm move by with about a 35 mile an hour wind gust. Even Merida there has had a few gustier showers. And again, this is all getting going right now. We're just ramping things up here with widespread heavy rain. And look, man, there's even some wind gusts here with a cold front back into the Keys, where Key West has actually had some 40 mile an hour winds. This is going to be a common sight. Eduardo sent me this picture. Thought it was very timely. This is from Hattieville, Belize, just about 15 miles inland from Belize City. You can see the low-level clouds and those darker bases, rich, deep tropical moisture in play. And that's going to be a very common sight here over the next couple of days across Belize and Guatemala and Honduras and the Yucatan Peninsula, with areas of excessive rainfall, flash flooding, mudslides. Some of those things are going to come along with the possibility here. We'll deep dive into the rest of this coming up in just a second. Let's talk about our other Invest area here. This is Invest 94L. Now, this one's cooperated a little bit more. It brushed the far northern side of the Leeward Islands overnight. We've had a little bit of gustier winds. You can see just to the north of Puerto Rico, this is an offshore buoy there. But for Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands itself, we've been okay. We've had some passing showers and storms. We've had a few squalls come by. Winds have kicked up from time to time. It's actually, if anything, helped out the heat there today, but nothing outrageous. You can see a few showers and storms kind of rake portions of the British Virgin Islands, Anegada, Virgin Gorda, Tortola, Joost Van Dyke, St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. John. Winds have not been significant there. Had a little blow up of thunderstorms in the central side of Puerto Rico, moved off towards the west, Mayaguez, Uti Alto, Aguadilla, places like that. This system only has a 20% chance of development, and in general, it's actually going to track north of Puerto Rico in the Dominican Republic and Haiti and then put the brakes on. We talked about how it can't go any farther west than that because of that big area of high pressure, that dome of high pressure, the cold front, which has slipped pretty far south into the Bahamas. So it's going to stall out, and then we'll talk about how it might go from there. But the Hurricane Center is only putting on a 20% chance. If it can stay over one area long enough, we could have some higher rainfall totals. Places like the Turks, the Caicos, and the Dominican Republic and Haiti could be in line for that, but I'll have more on that coming up. Elsewhere on this Friday, before we get into those two areas and really deep dive, again, the winds have been very significant here in the southeast United States. And I want to be very, very clear about one thing for anyone viewing in the United States in the Gulf Coast. This is not your storm. The cold front that has come in is not allowing this to move any farther north. This puppy's heading due west. This is going to be Central America and the Yucatan storm. So again, you guys know a little shell shock lately with Helene and Milton. You don't have to worry about this particular one. We've continued to see some rain and some very gusty winds. As a matter of fact, for the Bahamas, there's a gale watch that's in effect right now for all of the islands. Freeport's at a 30-mile-an-hour wind. Same thing for the Nassau area. Let's check out the rain in this area for you right now. We'll drop off the satellite data, bring on the rain. Once again, you can kind of see this broad spin over Cuba, the Florida Straits, back down towards the Keys. Andros has had some showers today. We've had some passing showers over New Providence. They've tried to sneak up towards Eleuthera and the southern side of the Abacos as well. Still relatively concentrated where the rain has fallen, but where it has, we've actually had some pockets of heavier rain, and the weather overall has been a little bit quieter into the far central and the southeast side of the Bahamas, from Cat Island back down towards the Acklands. Let's check out what's happening right now in the rest of the Lesser Antilles. Again, kind of on the southern edge of Invest 94L, tailing 94L, tailing the storm. It's easy for me to say. Well, we have had a few pockets of showers and storms. Again, it's not extremely concentrated. We've even had a few lightning strikes. You can see a couple of lightning strikes here on our live lightning counter. Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, St. Barton, Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, on over towards Guadalupe. Passing showers here, but nothing too heavy, nothing we can't handle. Dominica, Guadalupe, Martinique. You can see the brisk east winds. Now, it's kicked up the seas. We've had some swells. As a matter of fact, even down towards Trinidad and Tobago, they've got a yellow alert for hazardous seas. So again, boaters, be aware of that. I know we have some swells in the western side of Barbados. Again, with the passing showers there. Nueva Esparta could see a couple of showers and storms kind of developing off the mainland there. And there's an opportunity, at least, for the ABC Islands to catch a rogue shower or storm for today. Elsewhere, let's check out what's happening across the Dominican Republic and Haiti. We'll switch back over to our enhanced satellite imagery here. Again, more rain is to come. Santo Domingo's already had a 30-mile-an-hour wind gust. Showers and storms are breaking out across the Mona Passage and will continue to work their way off towards the west. So again, not just some rain, but even pockets of instability enough to produce a few thunderstorms. It's been a relatively quiet day in Jamaica. We've had a few clouds and a few showers to develop, but nothing outrageous. And again, we're kind of right on the edge of that richer tropical moisture from Invest 95L, okay? But generally, it's moving away. We could still pick up some rogue showers here, but not as much. Portions of the Cayman Islands have had some heftier rain for today. It's been, again, spottier in nature, but we've even had a few showers over Little Cayman and Cayman Brac, and Grand Cayman especially have had some dark clouds and some heavier rain near the island from time to time as well. So that's kind of the overall outlook of what's happening for today. Couple of programming notes. First of all, our live radar will be returning on this Friday night. If you haven't joined that live radar stream, we take our weather computer and we stream it for you guys 24/7 so you guys can monitor that developing tropical storm, beginning with impacts to Central America and the Yucatan. So look for that live radar stream to return this evening, and that will be running all overnight as well. So keep an eye out for that. While you're down there, guys, take a look and do me a quick favor. Like this video. I appreciate that. Appreciate our Meteo Mundo community. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. You want these daily forecasts. You want your updates across the tropics as well. Thank you for sharing with your family and friends and finding ways to support us here at Meteo Mundo. All right, now we're going to deep dive into the impacts. We're going to look at the models. We're going to go hour by hour here with Invest 95L. Again, to be very clear, this is not a depression or a storm as of yet, but literally at any point in time, you might see me post a pinned comment here on this video that says, by the way, this is now a tropical depression, or this is now Tropical Storm Nadine. This could happen sometime Friday evening. It could happen very, very early on Saturday morning, but the models are more aggressive in making this a tropical storm before landfall. And the Hurricane Center has upped that chance to 70%. These are the spaghetti models coming into play. Now, again, we can discount a couple that take it too far north. Notice that we are not very far away from landfall, and we are talking about generally Belize for this to make landfall, okay? Anywhere from the San Pedro area down towards Dangriga, there's an opportunity the center could slip into the far northern, southern sides of Quintana Roo, maybe the far northern, let's see if I get that right, the far southern sides of Quintana Roo, the far northern sides of Guatemala, but I think more than likely we're looking at the center moving over Belize. Now, regardless, it's gonna have fairly significant wind impacts and certainly significant rain impacts as well. But that's what the model looks like at this point in time. Let's bring on the GFS and we'll take a look at a couple of different models here for you guys. So again, we don't have to go out too far here, and I'm basically just going to take it through tomorrow evening and then we'll go from there. Let me bring on the model timestamp. Let me drop off that and we'll get into it. First of all, we'll just take a look at the reflectivity of the rain. We'll then look at the wind, and then we'll look at the rainfall potential for these areas. You can see kind of right at the end, just a very brief spin, right? And that might be enough to make this a tropical storm. The rain is going to be very widespread. Cancun, Cozumel, Campeche, Merida, Chechmo, Orange City, Belize, Orange Walk, Belize City, Dangriga, Roatan, Guanaja, the coastal sides of Guatemala, all with the opportunity for excessive rainfall, especially on the north side of where this moves in, because we're spiraling in winds that will, of course, be going with the storm motion. Counterclockwise winds are on an area of low pressure, so on the north side, you get the winds coming from east to the west. So could see some very heavy rainfall in this area, but it is going to be widespread. And of course, we do have some terrain here. So some of those higher elevations have to watch out for some landslides and some mudslides. And again, we'll talk about the rainfall potential coming up. But you can just see how widespread that rain is going to be just through our Saturday evening. If I extend it out one more day, so we see how it plays out from here. So I'll take it out until Sunday night. Just 1 second to do that. And then loop it up from here. Actually, I brought it into Monday night, but that's fine. We can see the full evolution of this. This more than likely will not get back over water. It could slip into the far southwest Gulf of Mexico, but with that high pressure and the drier air in place, this is more than likely going to due west and just kind of fizzle as it gets deeper into Mexico from there, right? But still a big time rainmaker in most areas. So just to point out that I'm not expecting this to come back to develop again and then to move back into Mexico or go farther north. Again, the north escape route, if you will, is absolutely closed for business. It's not going to happen. It's not heading to the Gulf Coast of the United States. Let's take a look at the wind associated with this, and this will give us a better idea of what the winds might look like right before landfall. This is the GFS model, okay, sustained winds. We're going to look at the NAM model, and then I've got 3 tropical models to show you guys because each of them have a slightly different scenario. So again, latest run of the GFS here, looping up, and we'll let it go right towards the end, and then we'll pause it. So this is what it looks like right now. You can clearly see that just as we're trying to get to landfall, it's trying to bring something up. And again, this is tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, at 7 a.m. Now the GFS you're going to see is a little bit weaker than some of the other models that I'm showing you. It's favoring, again, the north side for the strongest winds and the heaviest rain. We are teetering on tropical storm strength. You got to get the 39 here sustained. There are pockets of that. You can clearly see where the center is. I mean, there's a more well-defined center with very little wind there. There's less wind on the southern side, but we're really close here. So GFS says right on the border of a tropical depression or a weak tropical storm, okay? Most of the other models are actually stronger than that, but you can see the wind field coming in. So again, north of the center, Quintana Roo, Chechmal, Tulum, Cancun, Cozumel, those are the areas that will probably have the more significant wind impacts. If I switch over to the NAM model and we look at the winds here, and let me bring it out again just until tomorrow night and loop it up. So this is the NAM, okay, North American model. It's again going to point this towards Belize direction, but the strongest winds slightly north of there, maybe far northern sides of Belize, southern sides of Quintana Roo. So if we take a look at that, you can see it's already on land here into early Saturday afternoon. We'll zoom in real close for you guys. How does that sound? So 5 a.m. Saturday morning, and then there you go. Looks like literally the NAM tries to bring it right into Belize City. Now I want to be clear, this is not going to be a hurricane, all right? Don't expect that. We do have some tropical storm force winds right here on the north side. So again, the NAM would say this would become Tropical Storm Nadine just prior to landfall. If it does become a tropical storm, it's not going to last very long. One of those with the high sea surface temperatures near shore, very little wind shear, we get that. Again, southern sides doesn't have as much wind, but we can have some tropical storm force sustained winds. By the way, these are not gusts, sustained winds in that 35 to 40 mile an hour frame. If we actually look at gusts, back over to the GFS model here, because I think that's important, because it's not just going to be the sustained winds. So let's take a look at the gusts real quick, and I'll loop it up from here and go back in. We'll let it run its course and then pick it up from there. Let's see. For some reason, didn't like that. So give me just 1 second. Let's see if it now will give me the correct time frame. There we go. Okay. Well, again, this is now 11 a.m. Let me do something here real quick, guys. Give me just 1 second. Let's see. Let's do it this way. This should work now. All right, so these are the gusts here. And again, we're back to now, late Friday afternoon. So again, when you're looking at those areas in red, now we have gusts that are over 50 miles an hour, okay? And this is what I want to reiterate, is that sustained winds could be 40 to 45, but there could be some gusts of over 50 miles an hour, right? And this is on the weaker GFS model coming in. NAM would be even a little bit stronger than this, but anywhere that you see that red, we are pushing some wind gusts of over 50. So some minor damage would be expected with these kinds of winds. Some tree damage, some power outages, you know, maybe some beach erosion, just depending on where it goes. Again, we favor the northern side of where this moves inland for the strongest winds as well. So let me show you the other models. We'll start off with the HMON tropical model. This is going to be probably the strongest that you're going to see. If you look in the bottom right-hand side, when I take myself off camera, it actually has maximum winds of 70 miles an hour. Okay, so this is a very high-end tropical storm on the HMON model. Basically, it's saying that Nadine, which is what it would become, would rapidly intensify just before landfall. I believe this is on the far high side of where this could end up, but I wanted to show you that because the HMON model has done fairly well with some of the prior storms this season. It is a tropical model, and it is a very high-resolution model. And again, near the center, so we'd have a true, you know, higher end tropical storm here moving into the northern sides of Belize. The HWRF model, it's about the same spot. Again, northern Belize, southern Quintana Roo, North Chechemal, those sustained winds, again, are close to 70 miles an hour. Now, I want to be clear about this though. The strongest winds here are actually away from the center rather than here. So this would probably still be a tropical storm, but it's interesting that the HWRF model actually has the highest winds a little bit farther away. Normally you have them, of course, in the eye walls that's trying to develop, but you get the idea that there is the potential in just the last 6 to 9 hours overnight before landfall that this does try and wrap up relatively quickly. So our friends in Belize, Quintana Roo, even Guatemala, portions of Honduras need to start paying very, very close attention to this storm. Half same models, a lot more ragged, But the winds, again, are still right around 50 to 55 miles an hour. The max on that is 57, and the timeline of that is going to be about 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. Okay, 7 a.m. I believe local time, being 12Z, but right around daybreak. And again, northern Belize, southern sides of Quintana Roo. All right, so main impact areas: Belize, Honduras, Guatemala, Quintana Roo, the Yucatan, Campeche, those areas of the Yucatan Peninsula. Rainfall potential, and we'll look at the totals coming up as far as the models show, but generally speaking, we get 4 to 8 inches of rain. That's 100 to 200 millimeters, but locally higher. Flash flooding, mudslides, urban flooding are all a possibility with that kind of rain. Please check in with your local officials and your local governments for official messaging. I know that for Belize there is an excessive rainfall watch, and I'm sure others will come along for other locations as well. The wind potential again, and we are spitballing it a little bit here because it's a developing system, but based off the model data that I've seen, I think we could have winds of over 50 miles an hour sustained with some higher gusts. And again, the biggest wind impacts would be mainly near the coastline. Let's take a look at the rain on the GFS model. All right, so here's what the GFS is showing. I'm going to take off that red area one more time. Right here. And again, there are pockets of very heavy rain. As I mentioned, we favor north of landfall for the heaviest rain. So from Tulum south towards Chetumal, there, the coastline of Quintana Roo, you've got 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 11 inches of rain. So, 10 inches of rain is 250 millimeters. That could be a problem. Even down towards San Pedro, again, there's your 7 inches. Belize City's kind of right on the edge, maybe 5 or 6. Dangriga, a little bit lower into Guatemala. Roatan would be right around 4. Guanaja area right around 4 as well. But there will be locally higher totals. You can even see this little sliver here on the GFS. Now the GFS is slightly farther north than some of the other models, so there's the opportunity that we take those yellows and we push it a little bit deeper south in encompassing more of coastal Belize. That's why I want to say about 4 to 8 inches in any of these spots, but locally higher. Now you get up towards Merida, and again, just depending on the track, could be less. Campeche, could be decent. Inland, it just depends, right? If it goes a little bit farther north, those areas would have more rain, but more than likely it's just going to kind of track in this area here. And then right along the immediate Gulf Coast of Mexico, you're going to get, again, significant rainfall in a few more spots. But there's going to be some problems with this, guys, coming up with the rain and some of that wind. Again, that's the latest on 95L, which more than likely will at least be a depression, if not a tropical storm, by early Saturday morning before making landfall, again, more than likely in Belize. Okay, now let's talk about 94L a little bit more. We've already looked at kind of what it's been doing so far today, and thankfully, it really hasn't been doing much. If you noticed here on these spaghetti plots, when I take off the formation zone, you're not seeing a lot of spaghetti plots. It's because a lot of the tropical models just don't do anything with this. The bottom line is, although there's a 20% chance of development in this area, not really looking for there to be a significant chance for this to actually wrap up and become a system. It's going to be fighting some really significant wind shear as it gets north of the Dominican Republic and Haiti and near the Turks and the Caicos. So let's go back over to the GFS model and bring that back up and take a look at what we expect here. I'm going to take just 1 second to realign all of my time frame. So appreciate you guys giving me a second to do it. And we won't go too far out, just a couple of days. Just again to show you that this is going to be a really sloppy system, right? And there's a very high likelihood that this never becomes a depression or a storm. Still could bring some heavier rain to portions of the Dominican Republic and Haiti, the eastern sides of Cuba, the Turks, the Caicos. If whatever broad core is left moves south and west, we could also see some rainfall get back into Jamaica, but the models have very little agreement as to what ultimately is going to happen with this, except for the fact that more than likely it's not going to develop, right? Some of the models, like the GFS, and I mentioned this yesterday, back build it north and east. Basically, it can't go farther west. It may not be able to go south and west, so whatever surge of moisture there is actually gets pulled back north and east and could actually become a little bit of a stronger, more organized system as it does so. And that's something I'll be watching out for early to mid next week. With that being said, it gets back into the open waters of the Atlantic. We'll see if Bermuda gets clipped by this, but I'm not expecting the core of that to cause any big problems there, okay? So it could be some wet weather, but a lot of you have been hoping for a little bit more rain in these areas. Again, no direct impacts for the central side of the Bahamas or the northwest Bahamas. Again, there's still a gale watch in effect. Turks and Caicos, southeast Bahamas, sure could get some rain. Again, you can see decent showers over Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Same situation is possible for portions of Puerto Rico and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. At least the rain chances are up the next couple of days. A good fresh breeze. I think that'll help what it feels like outside, so it's not really a bad scenario. We're not talking about a truly developed system. We're going to get passing showers to the Lesser Antilles as we stay with our fairly strong winds here. So again, winds will be kicked up, seas will be kicked up, and there will be some pockets of very heavy rainfall. You live in these areas, you let me know. Nueva Esparta, a couple of showers. Same thing for the ABC Islands. But again, not expecting a huge concentration of rain there. And again, our friends in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands kind of wedged in between the two, where we could still see some pockets of rain, but no direct impacts from either of the invests. Let's take a look at the whole entire Atlantic basin on the GFS model, just to show you again here that after Invest 95L moves inland, things could be relatively quiet for next week. A couple of areas I'll be monitoring, and yes, we still have to watch out for a couple of waves off the western African coastline and the main development region of the Atlantic, but the GFS does have things relatively quiet for the week ahead. That's always good to see. On the European model, again, that darn European model still wants to try and spin this up a little bit, especially again as it pulls off towards the north and to the east, but that should be east of Bermuda. And then elsewhere, again, we do have a couple of the ensembles picking up, of course, on 95L, but it seems like the European model has been kind of behind with that development in the Western Caribbean for the entire lifetime of it. Just really never focused in on it. GFS, other models did a little bit better. And again, nothing outrageous happening in the Atlantic for the week ahead, so relatively speaking, feel pretty good about things. Back over to the rainfall potential. This is now the European model. And again, you can clearly see coastal Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, portions of Quintana Roo, significant rain. Here's the European also with 94L. Again, it stalls it out near the Turks and the Caicos, near eastern Cuba, near Haiti, Dominican Republic, where we could have some higher rain totals there. When I take myself off screen, just again, look at the legend and you can see coastal Belize, Quintana Roo, Honduras, Guatemala, some of those kind of grays to whites or to purples even, that's again 10 to 12 inches of rain. So you're looking at 8 inches of rain is going to be 200 millimeters, 10 inches is 250, 12 would be 300. That's fairly significant rainfall there. And again, got to watch out for the localized flash flooding, landslide, mudslide potential. We could also see 6, 8, 10 inches of rain in these areas. Whether it falls over land or not is a big question. And then again, that heavier rain pulling to the north and to the east. And again, some significant rain favoring kind of the windward side here of the Lesser Antilles, where we could still have a few inches of rain fall in those areas as well. As I mentioned several times recently, boaters, please be cautious for all of these different features. They're really going to be kicking things up. As I've already mentioned, a yellow alert for hazardous seas for Trinidad and Tobago, the gale watch with the king tides for the Bahamas, and of course the excessive rainfall for Belize as well. But you can clearly see that in the short term, we're going to have some fresh winds out there, kicking up sea conditions in many, many locations. Watch out for long period swells in the Atlantic, portions of the Western Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. Things should improve the deeper into next week that we go. But for boating interest for the weekend ahead, please check with the local marine forecast. There's a lot of areas that are going to have some problems. Again, I appreciate you guys following us here on YouTube, liking and subscribing. You can find us across all of social media. We're on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. You want to send me a picture or video like Eduardo did from Belize today, mymeteomundo@gmail.com. And I appreciate all of our Meteo Mundo community for sending me those. Again, remember, starting tonight, we'll bring back our live radar stream, our weather computer running, giving you the latest updates on, again, the developing system, which more than likely will be a tropical storm. So look for that. Tropical Storm Nadine would be the name. Central America and the Yucatan are the areas of main impacts. Friends, I appreciate you guys. Of course, I'll be back soon with the latest. Watch out for that live radar stream as well. I'll be jumping on from time to time, giving you some input as well. You have a great rest of your Friday, and I'll see you soon right here at Media Mundo.